We're out and about in the Barossa, looking for family-owned and run wineries. We're lucky enough to be at the Kellermeister with owner and winemaker Mark Pearce. So let's start with Kellermeister. What's it about? Tell us about Kellermeister, please.
Kellermeister was founded in 1976 by Ralph Jones, who actually came out of a winery called Orlando Wines, which today you know as the very famous Jacobs Creek. He bought this site, he built the very charming mud brick winery that's behind you in cellar door, and set about selling wines in very small batches that were sort of curious, small in volume, and something that was really rare at the time. There was only a handful of wineries in the Barossa, and Kellermeister was the first boutique, true boutique. So he, with his wife, sold the wines in the cellar door in a way that was really, really educational and unusual in the 70s and 80s.
And how did you come about to own Kellermeister?
I came on board as the general manager, having spent a few years at Winery in McLaren Vale, to really give people a hand with that transition to an environment that had more definition around roles and responsibilities, and really consolidating and building upon the vision of Ralph Jones that he really established very strongly in the early days, where the owners, being in their 80s, felt that would be the time to retire. Now the business was in a sound position, so we've owned the business since 2012.
So Kellermeister has achieved some great feats recently in the international wine stage.
Yeah, we've been lucky to pick up a number of awards, which really do, for me, speak to the really good quality fruit that we're able to source in the Barossa from beautiful old vineyards. It's very gratifying for the team, for our growers, and obviously myself and Susanna to see the fruits of I guess your labour and people enjoying the wines, and that third-party endorsement certainly helps.
Yes. But, I mean, sorry to squeeze you on this, but yeah, there was an award for the Wild Witch very recently. We should probably talk about that specific award. Yeah,
well, the Wild Witch has been a wine that I think, you know, when we first joined, it was a wine that was sold in relatively small quantity and was perhaps lacking in consistency. But in 2012, we did win an award at the International Wine Challenge in London, which is a very prestigious wine show for the best Shiraz in the world. And the award that you're talking about last year, we followed up with the Wine of the Year at the London Wine Challenge.
The Wild Witch, it's on the board, the premium family-owned wine board at 1918. Do you have any recommendations for a food pairing with the wine when people are at 1918?
Yeah, definitely. For me, Wild Witch, which I've taken into a combination of the elegance and the power of what the Barossa brings. The Barossa really does bring some beautiful elegance from the elevated sub-region of Eden Valley, of which this wine has some good componentry. So we're talking brighter blue fruit characters, we're talking some lovely earthy characters, we're talking characters that, you know, bring into the equation, you know, fennel and some sort of star anise qualities to add to the power of the northern Barossa, add to the plushness of the red fruits that we find down here in the south. So the answer to your question about food is steak is, for me, particularly if it's grilled over wood, is really a wonderful choice with a wine like Wild Witch.
Sure.
I think, you know, those nuances of smoke that you get from the grill and the complexity of grilling does suit really well with the beautiful combination of the fruit characters, but also the nuances that oak brings to the complexity of the wine.
So, what's something people might not know about Kellermeister wines?
Kellermeister is, it's a well-kept secret, and it is perhaps too much of a well-kept secret, which works for us because, of course, people love to discover something new.
Yeah.
But this is the nature of family businesses, isn't it? So what we rely on is people arriving at the winery, coming into the cellar door, enjoying the wines with a platter, enjoying the views. We rely on people coming to our events where we often put pigs and lambs and whatever on, and people have a wonderful time. That tends to be how people discover who we are. So, cheers.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure. Thank you for coming and having a chat.
Thanks for having us. Cheers. That's it, guys. Thank you very much. We'll come on down to 1918 and get yourself a bottle of Wild Witch.